Good morning to all. So today we will see the last topic of this STTP, and that is the we are going into the deep into the Raspberry Pi. Okay, so until now, actually, you have seen the different microcontroller like your Atmega 328, Node MCU, ESP8266, and we have done the different interfacing with the analog sensor and the digital sensor as well as for the different actuators. Also, we have seen that how to upload the our analog data, digital data to the cloud. We have used that ThingSpeak cloud to upload the data. The DST11 actually we have interface with the Node MCU, and that data we are going to put into the your Node ThingSpeak cloud. So I think there is a one day before we have done this, might you have done at your end. Okay, so but the drawback of that particular microcontroller that we have already studied is it is single task microcontroller. Okay, it is a single task system. So it means that if you are putting only one program and that program is only doing that, so it will not doing a multiple task. So it is a single task system. Your Atmega 328, ESP8266, all are the single task because it doesn't support the multitasking. Okay, so suppose, but in the modern days, actually, we want to do something at the same time. Suppose 3 or 4 tasks we want to execute at the same time. Okay, then what is the solution? Okay, so that solution is the one of the modern microcontroller, and that is the your Raspberry Pi. Okay, so today we are going to see that Raspberry Pi. That first we will see the very basics, that what are its pin configuration, what are its variant, and then after that we are going into the installation. Actually, I'm not going into the full installation because for the installation itself it requires the half an hour to 1 hour for the installation only. So I will be only showing the steps, and one video is I have downloaded from the YouTube. I will show that because in that video actually all the steps has been covered. I will be explaining that video, and then after that we are going into the first basic program of the Raspberry Pi, that is your Blink LED. Uh, 1 minute. So let's start. So I'm sharing my screen. Okay. Uh, so firstly, I will explain you what is Raspberry Pi. Actually, might you have already used this Raspberry Pi before in the different projects. But those who are new to the Raspberry Pi, for them only I'm explaining this. Raspberry Pi is a series of single board computer developed in a UK by the Raspberry Pi Foundation. Okay, so there is a raspberrypi.org, this website actually, which will be run by the Raspberry Pi Foundation, which are designing the single board computers. Actually, the size of that computer is a very small. That is a size of only credit card. Okay, so the credit card size computer they are developing. Early on, Raspberry Pi project learn towards the promotion of teaching basic computer science in the school and the developing country. Okay, so recently or the currently actually Raspberry Pi generally use into the embedded system to develop the different embedded projects. But the very first uh, aim for designing the Raspberry Pi is they want to design a small computer which are very useful in the teaching. Okay, so for teaching actually, if you buy a new computer, actually they will cost up to the around the 15 to 20,000. So their aim is to design such a computer which will be only costing up to 2 to 3,000 only. Okay, so there they have start designing the Raspberry Pi, but meanwhile actually its uses is so much greater that the embedded system developer also get into it, and they started using that Raspberry Pi for their project. So later the original model came become for more popular than the anticipated, selling outside its target market for such as the robotics. Yes, okay. So it is not its area is not so much limited only up to the teaching. So Raspberry, using the Raspberry Pi, the robotic people also uses this single, because they are capable, the Raspberry Pi is capable of doing a multitasking system. It can be execute a multitasking system. Okay, and it is a use, it is the need of the robotics. Okay, so that's why the robotic people that are going to use this Raspberry Pi. It is now widely used in the many areas such as weather monitoring, because it's a low cost and the high portability. Yes. So where you want to place remotely your computer, so if the you are placing the computer there, the cost is very high, but instead of that putting the computer again, so if you are putting the Raspberry Pi there, it will do the same task, but the it will having the less cost or the low cost. Okay, for more info, okay, so I'm click on this link. Okay, so if you want to get into more into this Raspberry Pi, just visit this Wikipedia page of Raspberry Pi. It is having the full history of Raspberry Pi. So release date is 24 February 2020, 8 years ago. Okay, and last version has been released on the 24th June 2019. That is a Raspberry Pi 4. Okay, so currently in the market, Raspberry Pi 4 is very trending. So why it is trending, we will also discuss, but there are the variants. Here you can see this, the different variant: Raspberry Pi, Raspberry Pi 2, 0, 3 and 4. Okay, there are the in the every variant, actually there are different models, that is B, B plus, A plus. Okay, Raspberry 4 is very trending now because it is having the model of the different RAM. That is, it started with the 1 GB RAM to 2 GB, 4 GB and 8 GB. So, and it's having the dedicated GPU associated in the Raspberry Pi 4. So if you want to deploy your project in which actually the video processing is there, okay, so generally before this you have to use the computer for processing your video, because your embedded system is not having such a power to process the video. So that's why now the Raspberry Pi 4 is having the 8 GB of RAM. So using the 8 GB of RAM, easily actually you can process your video very fastly and you can get a real-time output there. Okay, so release date is 2019, Raspberry 4B 8 GB, release date is 2020. Its hardware is given, processor, yeah, processor is again very much popular, and that is your here it is, a processor is given. Yeah, CPU. Okay, so if you're talking about the Raspberry Pi 4, it is a Cortex A72 processor. The speed of the Cortex A74 processor is the 1.5 gigahertz processor. It is a quite higher, okay, than the previous microcontroller. The model that I'm going to use for demonstrating the these practicals is the Raspberry Pi 3 model B that I'm having, that is having the CPU as a Cortex A53, and the speed is 1.2 gigahertz. The RAM is 1 GB of RAM. The RAM is 1 GB of RAM. A Raspberry Pi 4 can have the 1, 2, 3 or 4 GB of RAM. There are the 4 USB port for the Raspberry Pi 3. And video output is the HDMI. Okay, there is one video output is there. Composite audio is also there, but with the that particular 3.5 jack, using the 3.5 jack, there you can have the composite video also there. Okay, on stored storage is not there, but you can insert the memory card, and using that memory card actually you can have the onboard storage with it. Okay, it also support the Ethernet, that is 10 by 100 Mbps Ethernet. Also it support the Wi-Fi. It is also having the Bluetooth, and the power requirement is very, very important. If you are talking about the Raspberry Pi 3 model B, okay, so Power rating is 3. It requires the 300 milliampere average when idle and 1.34 ampere maximum under the stress. Okay, so if you have connected monitor, keyboard, mouse and Wi-Fi all is connected, then it maximum it consume the 1.34 ampere. So it is a very low power consumption. So it only consumes 6.7 watt power. Okay, so if you compare this power with your computer will PC, your PC will consume around up to the 400 watt, but this computer will only consume the 6.7 watt of the power only. Okay, but if you compare with this 3 with the 4 Raspberry Pi 4, so when it is idle, then it consumes the 600 milliampere, that is 3 watt, and when it is continuously running, then it's draw the 1.25 ampere. But the power supply requirement is the 2.5 ampere. So you require the power adapter of 2.5 ampere to power up these boards. Okay, 2 to 2.5 ampere is sufficient, and it is the voltage. If you're talking about voltage, then it's a 5-volt power supply. Okay, 5-volt power supply. Okay, the weight is again you can see the weight. It is only Raspberry Pi 3, B plus all are having the weight of 45 gram only, and Raspberry Pi 4 is having the weight of only 46 gram. Okay, so this is the regarding to this Raspberry Pi 4 and 3. If you want to get into the more, just visit this website. I'm just putting this website into the chat window. So meanwhile, while listening, you can also visit this website and see the details of, or the hardware detail of this Raspberry Pi. So this is the Raspberry Pi 2. So from the Raspberry Pi 2, it become very popular. Actually, it is having the GPIO headers. This is the GPIO headers. So I'm making an animation here. Okay, so this is the GPIO headers. Okay, through which we can connect the different general purpose input output like sensors and actuators. These are the USB. Okay, this is your Ethernet. This is your Ethernet. This is your composite video as well as your AV. You can say the audio video, and also using which you can also connect the your speaker. Okay, this your HDMI is also there. HDMI connector is also there, and this is the power supply where you are connecting to the power supply, 5-volt power supply you have to give here. And here this is the connector where you can connect the camera also. Okay, so camera also we can connect. Okay, so here one display there, we can connect the display here itself, but generally we are putting the display at the HDMI. Okay, so there is one Raspberry Pi display in the market. You can connect that display at here itself. But if you want to connect your monitor, your computer monitor with this Raspberry Pi, actually you have to use the HDMI. If your monitor is a HDMI compatible, then you can directly connect. If your monitor is not HDMI compatible, if it support VGA, then you need to buy a converter cable, HDMI to VGA converter, and through which you can get the screen of this HDMI. Okay, because this Raspberry Pi is having the its dedicated operating system running. Okay, so for dedicated operating system, actually you need to install the OS there. Okay, so that's why it's called the OS, Raspberry Pi OS installation. Okay, you can't directly do a program. Okay, it is not a dedicated system. It is a multitasking system in which actually all the operating system we are installing. Okay, so which operating system we are installing, we will see. The next variant and very popular variant is the Raspberry Pi 3B that I'm going to use in the practical. Raspberry Pi 3B. The price of this Raspberry Pi 3B start from the 3,000 to 3,500. Okay, and again it is having the same thing. The HDMI is there, power in is there, then the composite video is there, camera connector is there, then the 4 USB connector is there, 4 USB connectors. and the Ethernet is also there. Okay, so you can connect, and here this is the Wi-Fi is also there. It also support the Wi-Fi. It also support the Bluetooth also. Okay, so you can connect your internet through Ethernet as well as through the Wi-Fi or through the Bluetooth. This is the Raspberry Pi 3B, and it is having the processor the BCM2837. Okay, 2837 Broadcom. The next one is Raspberry Pi 3B. The variant is a very this is the next version of the Raspberry Pi 3. The only difference is that here that Bluetooth is came here. This is the Bluetooth, and there is one heatsink is given to the this CPU. Heatsink is given. You can see in Raspberry Pi 3B there is no heatsink. If you are using Raspberry Pi 3B for video processing, generally the temperature of this processor becomes very high. It goes up to the 60 to 70 degrees Celsius. Okay, so to get it minimized, actually in a Raspberry Pi 3B one heatsink is given. Okay, so and here one LAN is there, which Ethernet IC is there. Okay, so remaining is same for Raspberry Pi 3B. The specification is also same. Only these two differences there. The next version, and that is very trending version, Raspberry Pi 4B, having the 4 version, 1 GB, 2 GB, 4 GB, and 8 GB version. So according to the RAM, actually it price varied. For 1 GB, the price is 3,500 to 4,000. For 8 GB, actually the cost up to the 7 to 8,000. Okay, so again, one major difference is here. Its power supply connector is changed here. Power supply connector. Okay, so previously this power supply connector is the same that you are using for your Android phone, but currently this is changing here, and there is 2 HDMI connector is given, but it is a mini connector. 2 HDMI mini connector is there. So if it is not directly connecting to your computer or your monitor, so you need to convert that mini HDMI to HDMI converter. Okay, so if you want to connect to this monitor, you require the converter there. Camera is same. Again, it supports the USB 3.0. This is a new in the Raspberry Pi 4B. Okay, so it supports Raspberry USB 3.0. The Ethernet connector is changes here. The position is changed there, and similarly the GPIO connector is also there. GPIO connectors. Okay, so the major difference in this variant is the this HDMI, 2 HDMI, and the charging cable is also changed here, and the USB 3.0 has been introduced here. Now this is the Raspberry Pi 4B overview. You can see the every description here where it is. Yeah, it is a RAM is there, this CPU is there, then this is a Bluetooth and the Wi-Fi is there, PCB antenna, then MPSI, DSI slot display device, micro SD card is there. Okay, so you can insert the micro SD card at the back of your Raspberry Pi, where you can actually install your operating system. Okay, so active LED, yeah, this is HDMI 0 micro HDMI port. Okay, 2 micro HDMI port is there, and type C connector is there. This is the type C connector. Okay, for power off, and audio video plus the audio plus video composite. Okay, audio plus video composite. Using the video composite connector, actually it supports that AV output. Then two USB 2.0 port and the two USB 3.0 port, and the gigabit Ethernet is there. Okay, so this is all about the Raspberry Pi 4B. This is a very trending, and if you want to start with this Raspberry Pi, I prefer that you should start with the Raspberry Pi 4 for your research purpose. Now, but the cost of Raspberry Pi 4 is very high. For example, if you buy the 1 GB version of the Raspberry Pi 4B, it will cost up to the 4,000 rupees. But when the cost matters, suppose if you don't have the such much of bigger application, if you have very small application, then you can prefer this version of the Raspberry Pi, that is the Raspberry Pi 0W. Okay, W represent it is having the wireless inbuilt. Okay, it is having the inbuilt wireless in it. Okay, so it is a GPIO header, same as that of your Raspberry Pi 3B, and it is having only 1 gigahertz of CPU, and the RAM is very less, that is 512 MB. So if you have the less uh, application, then you can prefer this Raspberry Pi Zero. And mini HDMI connector is there, micro USB for data is also there, and micro USB for power is there. Okay, so always see that where you have to connect the power. So the at the right hand side here, there is a power connector is there, and here there is a micro USB connector is there, same as that is available in your Android phone. Okay, so using that converter, micro USB to USB converter, you can connect your any USB device to this Raspberry Pi Zero. Okay, and the display you can connect by using this mini HDMI connector. Okay, and here the SD card connector is also given. Now this is the pinout. If you see the detail of this pinout, actually the first it will start with the pin number 1 to pin number 40, and look at this pinout. It starts with 1, first is 1, second is 2, and at the left hand side it is 3, then right hand side 4. So do not confuse about the numbering of this uh, pinout. Always start with 1 2, then 3 4, and then 5 6, like that. Okay, and if you want to connect to this GPIO to the external sensors and actuator, you need this pinout diagram, because it is not embedded, it is not printed on your Raspberry Pi board itself. You require to download this pinout from the internet, and from this you can connect your any sensors and actuators here. Actually it supports only digital, it supports the digital sensors and the actuators. 1 minute. So here we are using here the two modes of the connecting to the GPIO pins. One mode is the board mode. Board mode means the same pin number that is available in this board mode. That is, suppose if you want to connect to this pin 12 number pin, okay, 12 number pin. So I can access this pin. I can access just this pin. Okay, if I want to access this pin number 12, I can access in a two ways. Okay, so if you want, if you are going for configuring this pin number 12, you can configure this pin in a two ways. First one is your board mode, which is the actual number that is available on the board. Okay, so just count that number, that is pin number 12, so you can access that particular pin with the number 12. Okay, but if you are using the its microcontroller pin, if you are talking about microcontroller pin, that microcontroller pin is the GPIO 18. Okay, so it is GPIO 18 is the pin. Okay, GPIO 18 is the pin number, and it means that this pin I can access by two numbers, 12 as well as 18. So if you are configuring your program by using the your board mode, then use pin number 12. If you are configuring your program to use your microcontroller pin, that is known as a BCM mode, that is known as a Broadcom mode, then you need to use the pin number 18 there. Okay, so do not confuse here. The 12 and 18 is both are same, but depending on what mode that you are using. If you are using board mode, use pin number 12. If you are using BCM mode, then you use the pin number 18 there. So it means that the same pin I can access in a two ways. Okay, and there are two power supplies there, 5-volt power supply. The pin number 2 and pin number 4 are the two power supplies is given, and the ground connectors are also there, different ground connector, that is pin number 6, pin number 14, pin number 20, 30, 34, 39, 25, and the 9. Okay, so these much of the ground pins are there. 3.3 power supply is only one supply is there. Pin number 17 is the pin 3.3 volt power supply. This for the output purpose. Okay, if you want to connect the external power, if you want to connect the give the external supply from this board, then you can use this one also. Okay, so this is all about the pinout. Let's see the Raspberry Pi installation. The video has been, I have downloaded from the YouTube.
Hi, my name is Ian Buckley and you are watching MakeUseOf.com. Today's video is about the Raspberry Pi. If you've just got one of these and you've got no idea what to do next, this video is for you. Today we're going to take you through putting an operating system on the Pi, setting it up for the first time, and a few handy tips and tricks that will hopefully help you out in the future. So let's get started. For this tutorial today, we're going to need a few things as well as the Raspberry Pi. We're going to need to power it, so we'll be using a micro USB cord for that. This needs to be plugged into something that is 5 volts and at least 2 amps. The official Raspberry Pi power supply is highly recommended. I'll be using my home power supply today. We'll also need a USB mouse and keyboard, which will attach to the USB ports of the Raspberry Pi, and an HDMI monitor, which is just off screen over here. Before we connect anything to the Pi, it needs an operating system. Now, the Raspberry Pi 3 uses a micro SD card. I don't have a micro SD card reader, but I do have one of these adapters. So I'm going to plug the micro SD card into the SD card adapter and attach it to my computer, where we will now go and download our operating system.
Okay, so this is the minimum thing that we require for the installation. First thing is you require the USB mouse, then the keyboard, USB keyboard, then the HDMI monitor, or if you don't have the HDMI monitor, then you require the HDMI to VGA converter, and through that VGA you can connect to the VGA monitor also. The one thing that you require is the USB cable, and you require the power supply. Okay, so minimum is a 5 volt 2 ampere power supply. 5 volt 2 ampere. Never connect this Raspberry Pi to your mobile charger. Okay, just check the specification of the mobile charger. If it is provide the 2 ampere power supply, then you can use that mobile charger also. Then another thing that you require is your SD card. Okay, that is your the minimum size is the 8 GB, but I prefer the 16 GB to 32 GB SD card. 16 GB is sufficient for doing your project. Then you require the this adapter, or you require the USB SD card to USB converter. Okay, SD card to USB card. So there is a USB connector is there, through which actually you can insert that SD card and you can read that SD card, because we need to format this SD card and we have to copy our operating system file into this one. You require the breadboard for connection, and again you require the very important, that is your Raspberry Pi. Without Raspberry Pi you can't do anything. Okay, so you require the Raspberry Pi here. Okay, these are the minimum things that you require if you want to start with the Raspberry Pi installation. So next thing we will see.
So head to raspberrypi.org/downloads, and we're going to use Noobs today. Now, Raspbian is the official operating system of the Raspberry Pi. Noobs stands for New Out-of-the-Box Software. It does include Raspbian, but it's just easier to install. So from the official website, you can either download it via torrent or just download the zip. Get that zip downloaded, and we will then put it on.
Okay, so this is actually old video. I'm showing you the latest Raspberry Pi website as Raspberry Pi. Okay, raspberrypi.org, where you have to download, because the site has been changed. They have changed the site according to that Raspberry Pi 4 operating system. But if you have the Raspberry Pi 3B with you, then you can also download its operating system. Okay, so this is my Raspberry Pi website. If you want to download the operating system, just click on the download button. Yeah, so there is one software is came. Okay, before that actually we need a third-party software, but here recently actually Raspberry Pi Foundation also designed their own software for Imager. So according to your operating system, just download this Raspberry Pi Imager for Mac, Windows or Ubuntu. Otherwise, no need to download directly. You can also install with the traditional method also. Now these are the operating system, Raspberry Pi OS and Noobs. I prefer the Noobs operating system because it is a easy installation is there, but it is for the Raspberry Pi 4. It is for Raspberry Pi 4. So if you want to download the previous version, then you can press it here. This is a bootloader. Okay, so I'm click on the Noobs. Okay, so here it is, the Noobs operating system. Okay, yes. So just you need to click on the torrent or the zip file. The size is the nearly about 2.4 GB. It is 2.4 GB. Okay, so just download the zip file. After downloading the zip file, what to do, we'll see into the PowerPoint presentation.
Hi, my name is Computer, and we will then put it onto our SD card. Once it's finished downloading, if you're using Windows, simply right-click on the file and select Extract All. When it's finished extracting, the window should automatically open. If not, just go to the Noobs directory that's just been created, and it's everything in this directory that we need to copy to the SD card.
Okay, so after downloading that zip file, just unzip it and just double click on that folder, and whatever it is available, just need to copy to the SD card. Just as it is, you have to copy into the SD card, copy paste. Don't do anything. Do not copy the folder, copy the content of that folder. Okay, do not copy that Noobs version 2.8. okay, so you should copy the whole content. Just press Ctrl A, Ctrl C and open the SD card and just paste it there. Okay, very simple.
So if you haven't already, put your SD card into your reader now, and you need to make sure it is already formatted, but you just need to copy these files from here.
Okay, so very first thing is when you insert the SD card, actually you need to format it. So I prefer the software name as a SD card formatter. Okay, there is a software SD card formatter. Format your SD card first before copy all the files. Just you need to format it by using SD card formatter software. After formatting, just copy these files and just paste it on your SD card.
The SD card. Once the files are finished copying over, eject your SD card from your computer and you can put it into your Raspberry Pi. So now that you have your micro SD card.
Okay, so after copying, just remove that SD card from your computer and just plug it, insert that Raspberry SD card into your Raspberry Pi. So when you insert your that SD card into your Raspberry Pi, now your Raspberry Pi is having its own hard disk. So it means that Raspberry Pi is having the SD card. It is uses that SD card as a hard disk. Okay. Now, very first thing, when you powered up this this Raspberry Pi, it start installing the operating system, because we have not installed the operating system. We just have copy the file that is required for installation into the SD card. Okay. So the next one is your
with your operating system on. All you need to do is flip the Raspberry Pi over, and you'll see at the bottom there is a slot for it. Just make sure you have it this way around so that the tabs of the micro SD cards can talk to the tabs on the board itself, and then push that in. Once it's all the way in, you're ready to attach all your peripherals and get started. So when you've got it set up, it should look something like this. I've got my USB keyboard and mouse here just plugged in. If you want to connect directly to the internet via Ethernet, this Ethernet port here, you can just connect that directly to your router. And over here, I have an HDMI cable, which is running to my monitor. So now that I've got all of those things in place, this power cord, I'm going to plug it in. And it's worth noting that there's no on or off switch on a Raspberry Pi board as standard. Some cases have them, but there isn't. So I plug this in with the power off, but you'll see.
Okay, so these are the steps. Actually, never connect your power supply firstly. Firstly, you have to connect the USB mouse, then USB keyboard, and then the monitor. Okay, the monitor 1, 2, 3, and at the last actually you have to put your power supply, and never touch any area when you insert this cable, power supply cable. Do not touch it anywhere in the your Raspberry Pi. Okay, so due to the electrostatic charge, actually it might happen that your any component can be damaged here. Okay, so that's why just uh, plug it, and remaining what is done, what is happening, we will see.
So you have, but there isn't. So I plug this in with the power off, but you'll see as soon as I turn the switch on, the Pi starts to boot up immediately. It's just something worth bearing in mind, especially if you're a beginner, because if you turn it on when you have the wrong pins attached together or something, you could maybe fry it. So just a good practice to get into, have it off at the plug, turn it on when you know you're ready. Now that that's booting up, let's look at what we see on the screen. So when you first boot up, you will see this screen. So at the bottom,
Okay, so when you start with the new installation, the same screen will be there. Okay, so Raspbian and Libre Elect. Okay, so you need to select the first one, Raspbian.
of the screen, you can change your language and keyboard language for the installation. And in the main window, you have two options here. You may have more depending on which version of Noobs you have. We're just going to install Raspbian today, as that is the operating system designed for Raspberry Pi.
Click
Set
on
it
the
installing, and just be warned, it can take quite a while, so you might want to go off and do something else while it's happening. Once the installation is finished, you'll have a dialog box telling you that it's been successful.
Okay, so it requires actually depending on your which Raspberry Pi you are using, it requires the 15 to 20 minutes for installation. After 50, all the installation has been done, it will show this message: OS installed successfully.
Click OK, and this will automatically reboot your Pi into the Raspbian desktop. Now, on first boot, Raspberry Pi has their own setup. So this is where you can set your country.
Okay, so when you reboot your Raspberry Pi, actually, this is your first setup that is very similar like your setup in your Windows operating system. It will ask for your in which country you are using, which language, and what is your time zone. You have to set it all. And after setting,
actually live in Germany, but I'm going to leave this at United Kingdom for now. I'll show you why in a minute. But this is where you can set your country, language, and time zone. It's also where you can change the password for your Pi. Now, as standard, each
okay, so when you go for the change the password, actually, I'm not preferring this change the password, because what happened when I actually that change my password at the first time, actually, if I'm not written that password anywhere, actually I always forgotten. Okay, and when I again boot that Raspberry Pi, I have forgotten that password, and now your Raspberry Pi is of no use. So again, I have to reformat it. So that's why, meanwhile, if you are using that Raspberry Pi the first time, just skip this step. Okay, the default password of this Raspberry Pi is the Raspberry, Raspberry, all in a small case letter, and the username is the Pi, Pi is the username. Okay, so for if you are beginner for the Raspberry Pi, I prefer that just leave that username and password as it is. If you are not forgetting that password, then only you can change that password. Okay. Otherwise, if you are changing the password, write somewhere.
Pi's name is Raspberry and each password is Pi. By entering your own password, it's just that little bit more secure. That might not matter to you right now, but it's worth doing. It's also worth noting that if you want to see what password you're typing in, there is an option to unhide it. I would suggest you choose a better password than I have here. On the next menu is where you get to choose your Wi-Fi network. Once again, most Raspberry Pi boards have Wi-Fi built in. If you have an older Raspberry Pi,
okay, so next setting is the connecting to the Wi-Fi network. Okay, so if you are connected directly to the Ethernet, this Raspberry Pi can directly access the internet. But if the Ethernet is not there, so firstly you need to connect to the Wi-Fi network. Okay, so if you are connecting to the Wi-Fi network, if Raspberry Pi is connected to Wi-Fi network, then from any device which is available in your Wi-Fi network, on that device actually you can access the same Raspberry Pi. Okay, so that's why it is very necessary to connect your Raspberry Pi to your network. Okay, so select your Wi-Fi network, type a password. After typing a password, now your Raspberry Pi is ready to connect to your Wi-Fi.
Will have needed to plug in a Wi-Fi dongle for it to work. Either way, find your network and select the correct one and put the password in. As I mentioned before, you can get around this by just connecting directly using Ethernet as well. The final thing we do is check for updates. It does it all automatically. You simply click next and it will check for you. Again, this is something that can take a little while, so just leave it going. And
okay, so it is next last stage is check for updates. Okay, so if you have downloaded the previous version or of your operating system, might happen that the updates are some updates are available, but it consume very time. Okay, so depending on your again internet speed, actually it requires if you click on the update, actually it required the 20 to half an hour, 20 minutes to half an hour for taking all the updating. Okay, so just skip it. You can update it afterwards also.
when it's done, we'll come back to it. When this is finished, you'll get a dialog box saying the system is up to date. Click OK, and you can get started using your Raspberry Pi. For a little more configuration, we're going to go to the Applications menu and go under Preferences and select the Raspberry Pi configuration. So,
okay, so this is the Raspberry Pi configuration. This is the first time configuration you need to do. So that is your, if you want to change the password, then you can change password. Host name, yeah, you can change the host name also. The host name is nothing but your computer name. Okay, username is different, host name is different. Boot to desktop or to CLI. Okay, desktop means this is your GUI version. Okay, CLI means your command line interface. Okay, so if you don't want this GUI version, then just click on this boot to CLI, and then on the next boot actually it is not opening the GUI, it is directly going to the CLI. That is your command line interface. Okay, auto login, if you are click on the auto login, then it will not ask for the password. Then a network boot, okay, splash screen is enable disable, yeah, it is doesn't require. Resolution is automatically it get resolution depending on what monitor you are using. And the next one is very important, that is your interface.
we can make a few other changes here. The main thing that I want to do is just change the name of the Pi so it isn't just the standard Raspberry Pi. There's also an interfaces menu here. You might not need to know about this if you're just starting out, but it's worth.
Okay, interface menu is very important if you want to configure any external device. So if you want to use the camera for this Raspberry Pi, you need to enable it first. SSH is the one protocol that is using which actually you can access this Raspberry Pi anywhere from the network. Okay, so for this you need to first click on the SSH. Okay, so VNC. So using the VNC, actually you can get the same desktop at the other computer using the VNC viewer software. SPI is the protocol, serial protocol. I2C also protocol, serial port is also protocol. These are the three serial protocol. If you want to use this serial protocol, then use enable, otherwise make it as a disable also. Okay, so any use that you want to, anything that you want to use here, just you have to enable before use it. Just if you are not enabling the camera, and if you insert the camera and if you try to capture the image, then it will show the error. Okay, so you have to first enable the camera.
Seeing it's here because SSH and VNC on this menu are what allows you to talk to your Pi headlessly. And here I'm just changing the time zone. As I mentioned, when I first logged into the Pi, I said I was in Germany and it forced me to use the German language. Now I do speak German, but I would like it to be in English, and this is how. I select the right. Do that. This is also where you can set.
Okay, last is your localization. Localization is contains the different setting like local, time zone, keyboard, and the Wi-Fi country. Okay, so generally I prefer to select the time zone. Okay, so set the time zone in India, Kolkata, Mumbai. Okay, plus UTC plus 5.30 hours, and you will have this time get changes according to your time zone. Okay.
your keyboard to your language if you haven't already done it. Each time you use config, it will ask you to reboot your Pi. So click yes, and it will automatically reboot. So that's it.
Okay, so this is all about the Raspberry Pi installation. Actually, it requires the half an hour for complete all the installation. But the main thing that you require is you must have all the things that is required. That's you must have the HDMI to VGA converter. You must have the SD card with USD. You must have the USB HDMI USB SD card reader. Then the power supply, 2 ampere power supply. Then the USB cable. Then you must have the keyboard, mouse, and then the one monitor with you. Then only you can do this installation. Okay, so before starting the first program, one Raspberry Pi is connected here. I can show you that Raspberry Pi. Okay, so this is the Raspberry Pi. This is already powered up. You can see that LED is blinking there, and that is a power LED. This LED blink, it means that this it is powered up. I already has been logged into this Raspberry Pi. I know its IP address, but how to get because it is connected to my Wi-Fi network. So to get the IP address of my Raspberry Pi, so what I am doing. Firstly, I'm going into my router, Wi-Fi router, and I see the connected device. It is a Raspberry Pi is the connected device, and its IP address now I know that is 192.168.1.103. This is my IP address of my Raspberry Pi, and I have also enabled the VNC and SSH. Okay, SSH also enable, VNC also enable. So first I will show you how to connect to the Raspberry Pi through the SSH. Then I will show you how to connect your Raspberry Pi through the VNC. Okay, so for connecting your Raspberry Pi through the SSH, but one condition is that on your Raspberry Pi SSH should be enabled and VNC should be enabled. So firstly, go to your terminal. Go to the terminal. So after going to the terminal, actually, you need to first type the command sudo SSH, then my username, that is Pi is the username of my Raspberry Pi, and then its IP address 192.168.1.103. this is my IP address of my Raspberry Pi. So press enter. So it will ask the password of my computer because I have executed this command with the sudo preference. So I am typing my computer. Now it will ask for authenticity of host. Yes, just type yes. Now it will ask for the password of the Raspberry Pi. So it is Raspberry, IRASPBERRY. Okay. Okay, so it is now connected. My Raspberry Pi is connected, and you can see here this is the prompt of my Raspberry Pi. Here previously it is a prompt of my computer. It is Ganesh@MacBook, and now it is prompt of my Raspberry Pi. Now I can see with the ls command what is the content of my Raspberry Pi. Yes. Okay, I can go anywhere. CD Ganesh. Yeah. Then ls, I can go here, I can do anything, I can create a folder, I can delete a folder, I can create a new file, anything I can do with this command because it is a command line interface of this Raspberry Pi. Now to get out of it, just type exit and your connection is closed there. So if you want to log in into your Raspberry Pi through the terminal, use this command SSH Pi @ and the IP address, and where from you get the IP address I already shown to you, but it is a command line interface. It is a command line interface. So if you want the GUI interface, then you need the VNC viewer software. So this is my VNC viewer software. VNC viewer software, where you have to only type the IP address of the Raspberry Pi 192.168.1.103. Press enter. When you press enter, actually it will ask for password. So username is Pi and the password is Raspberry, RASPBERRY. Okay, RASPBERRY. If password is okay, then now you can see here, this is my Raspberry Pi screen. Okay, where I have connected through the VNC viewer. The same thing, suppose here the Ganesh folder is there, the Pi folder is there. Yes, the same thing is available here. Okay, the same thing you can get it here. Okay, so if you want to work in your Raspberry Pi, you can work in that Raspberry Pi without connecting to the monitor also. Firstly, you require the monitor at the starting only. If your Raspberry Pi is Wi-Fi connected and if you know the IP address of your Raspberry Pi and if the SSH and the VNC is enabled, then you can log in to that Raspberry Pi anywhere from the, now you can see here my Raspberry Pi. What is the connection of my Raspberry Pi? The Raspberry Pi I have connected only the power supply. Okay, so here this is my HDMI connector. I am removing this HDMI connector. When I am removing this HDMI connector, actually my Raspberry Pi is only having the power supply connected. There is no USB mouse, there is no USB keyboard is there. The only thing is that the Raspberry Pi is connected to my Wi-Fi network, and through that Wi-Fi network now I can able to access this Raspberry Pi on my PC or on my laptop directly. Okay, so you can use this Raspberry Pi as your locally, as a local local PC. Okay, so in this way actually you can connect your Raspberry Pi. The first way is SSH and second way is the using the VNC viewer software. Okay, now what we are doing, we will quickly do the one first program on your Raspberry Pi. So this is my first program. Actually, I'm using the Python language for doing the programming, Raspberry Pi programming. So because it is very easy and it doesn't require to learn this Python language so much of time. Within only one day also you can start learning this or start programming in Python. So very first one is import rpi.gpio because I want to use the GPIO pin. So this GPIO library I have to import. So I'm importing that library, import rpi.gpio at GPIO. Second one is import time because we require to produce a delay. So that delay is available in your time library. So I'm importing these two library. The next thing is gpio.setMode, gpio.bcm. So here I'm using the gpio.bcm. Why? Because I want to use the BCM mode of the pin. You instead of that gpio.bcm, you can use gpio.board, BOARD. If you are using board mode, then you have to use that board pin that we have discussed earlier. Okay, so now what pin I am using here? Pin number 18 here, and that is the BCM pin. So it means that I have to look out the GPIO 18. If you are using BCM mode and if you are using 18, you have to look for the GPIO 18. So where is my GPIO 18? Yeah, this was the GPIO 18, and this is the actually board pin of 12 number. So to find out the GPIO 18, you have to count from this first one 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 and 11 12, or from the right hand side it is the sixth pin. From right hand side it is a sixth pin is there, so it is a GPIO 18. If you are using, if you want to use 12 here, just replace this BCM by the board, BOARD. Okay, both are same. Okay, so next one is set warning false. Yes, any warning came, I'm suppressing this warning. That warning is not displaying on the on the your screen. And next one is the setup. As we have done in your Arduino, before starting our main program, we make a setup. In that setup, actually, we set up mode of the particular pin. So to set the mode of the particular pin, we are using the setup function gpio.setup 18, gpio.out. So gpio.out will make the pin number 18 as a output pin. Okay, so it means that I can connect any actuator to pin number 18. Now next one is in a try catch. Actually, in a try catch, this is the exception handling, because this is the infinite loop we are putting there, and to end this infinite loop we are pressing the keyboard interrupt, then that is a control C. So to capture this control C, that is keyboard interrupt, I am using the this try except or the try catch or the exception handling here. If you are not using the exception handling, then it is also okay, but this GPIO is not clean up. Okay, GPIO is not clean up because we know that in an operating system, any resource that we have acquired, we have to release it when your program get over. Okay, so this GPIO.cleanup will do all the cleanup activity. Okay, but in a main program, actually in a while one, what we are doing, we are printing the LED on, then we output the pin number 18 as a GPIO.high. Okay, GPIO.high. So it means that high will, it means one will be returned to pin number 18. So pin number 18 is having the 1 now. And if the LED is connected, then the LED is on. Okay, and then time dot slip 1 is your second, it is in a second. So your time dot slip 1, it means that 1 second delay, then it print LED off, and then GPIO dot output, again pin number 18 is becomes low, again time dot slip 1. So it is a very similar like your blinking LED program that we have already done in your Arduino. Let's try to execute the same program in our Raspberry Pi. Okay, so how to do the Raspberry Pi programming? So for that you need to go to the accessories and go into the terminal. Okay, so first open the terminal. It is very important now, very important steps. If you are very new into the Raspberry Pi, these steps are very, very important. So pi@raspberry pi. So firstly, you need to create a folder first. So I'm creating a folder mkdir nhc. Okay, so folder is created. I'm going into that folder, cd space nhc. Now I want to create one file, and the file name is blink .py. Okay, blink.py. Okay, now next one is the you're typing your program. So very first very first line is the import rpi.gpio as GPIO. Okay, so this is my first line. I'm importing the GPIO library. The second one is the import time. Okay, the next thing that we require is the gpio.setMode gpio.bcm. Okay, so in this program I'm using GPIO library, and I'm setting the mode as a gpio.bcm. Instead of that, you can also use the gpio.board. What is the difference? We already has been discussed. Now I'm using gpio.bcm. The same program we will do with the board also, but for this point we are using the gpio.bcm. The next thing is the after the gpio.setMode has done, we are doing gpio.setWarnings false. Okay, so we are doing gpio.setWarnings NGS warnings FALSC. Okay, F should be capital. Now here is a case sensitive language. We know that Python is a case sensitive language. Now next one is GPIO dot, the next one is the GPIO dot setup. Okay, we need to set up that pin number 18 is
Sir,
yes,
that code is not visible. Just that breadboard under only it is visible.
Okay,
Whatever what I know, sir, that code is not visible.
yeah, I forgot to share my screen. Okay, sorry.
Okay, sir. Okay, thank you, sir.
Okay, now is it visible?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
No, I have written the 2 or 3 lines actually. Last 5 minutes, it is only audible. So just visualize that whatever I have already said to you. That is, first line is rpi.gpio, second is import time, the third is your gpio.setMode, gpio.pcm, then set warning. The next one is we need to do the setup. Okay, so in a setup, actually what pin number I have to use? Pin number 18. Okay, and then what setup I want to do? So gpio dot out. Okay, so it means that pin number 18 I am declaring as a output pin. Okay, so you can also do the comment. So comment you can do with the hash line. Comment with the, because Python comment is very different than the C comment. It start with the hash. So pin 18 is now output pin. Pin number 18 is now output pin. Okay, so I have done the setting. Now I want to do the, I'm not putting here exception handling directly. I'm using the while one. After that I'm putting the that exception. Okay, after executing this program, what is the problem with that exception? If I'm not using the exception, I will be show you. So while one, in a while one, actually I'm printing the LED on. So LED on, and then the next one is your gpio.output. Okay, gpio.output, gpio.output, and on what pin you want to make output? Pin number 18. And what is your output? You can put it as a 1 only, or instead of that you can put it as a gpio.high. Okay, and then time dot slip 1 second slip. Okay, then next one is again print LED off, and then again gpio dot output 18 comma, now gpio dot low, and then time dot slip 1. Okay, so I have done my programming. So let's check the output, is it works or not. Okay, so control X, Y, and enter. Okay, control X, Y, and enter. Your program has been done. You can check with your cat command, that is catblink.py. So your program is now okay. Now how to run this program? You know that how to run the Python script. Just type Python, and then which version of the Python it is being installed, just I'm checking. It is Python 2 version. Okay, no problem. And now next one is, if I want to run this code, just type Python blink.py. Okay, so when you click on the Python, actually I want to execute with the Python 3. Okay, Python 3. So Python 3, is it installed or not? Just yes, Python 3 is installed. So I'm executing this my program with the blink with the Python 3. Okay, so before executing, just do the connection. Now what are the connection? We know that this is my GPIO header. I am going to use a GPIO 18 number, so pin number 12 actually, board number 12, board pin 12, but GPIO 18. So from the right hand side, 6th pin is there. Okay, and where is my ground pin? 3rd pin is my ground pin. Okay, so now I am going to this breadboard connection. This is my LED. I'm connecting the same connection we have already done in your Arduino. Okay, blinking LED connection. Okay, LED is in a series, so I require the male to female connector. So this is my anode, and anode is connected to 12 number pin. So it is 1 2 3 4 5 6. 1 2 3 4 5 6. Okay, and one more wire is required for ground. So it is pin number 3. Okay, so from the right hand side is pin number 3. Okay, okay, so I have done my connection. Now let's see the output. Yeah, let's see the output. You can see here I have connected my ground pin to this pin number 3, actually pin number 6 it is, and for the pin number 12 I have connected to anode of my LED. Now I am just type the python 3 space blink.py and press enter. When I press enter, you can see the output. Okay, and also you can see the output on the screen also. LED on and LED off. LED on, LED off is continuously printing, and if you see the screen here, the LED start blinking here. LED start blinking. Okay, and here the continuously LED on, LED off. Now it is in an infinite loop, while one loop. Okay, so how to stop this program? Just press Ctrl C. Just press Ctrl C. When you press Ctrl C, actually it will capture the keyboard interrupt and your program is out of that program, out of this loop. Now when I again run this program, let's see what is there. Okay, again my program get run there. Okay, again run the program, your program get run. Okay, so here actually warning is not being displayed. Warning is not being displayed. Why warning is not displaying? Because we have make that set warning as a false. Let's comment it and just try to run this program. When I comment this program, when I comment the set pin, you will set a you will have one warning. Yeah, just I'm stopping this. The warning is runtime warning. This channel is already in use. Continue anyway. So if you want to suppress this warning, then use gpr.set warning false to disable the warning. Okay, so to remove this type of the error, actually we are generally putting this statement into the try catch. So try, because we are not done the here cleanup activities. So to done the cleanup activity, what we do, we are putting the except except keyboard keyboard interrupt, except keyboard interrupt, and then GPIO dot cleanup, GPIO dot cleanup, and we are again doing one print statement here. All clean up done. All cleanup done. Okay, Control X, Y and enter. Okay, and then just again run the program. Okay, so this is previously is there because cleanup is not done at the previous, that's why there is a warning. Now I am removing this program, stopping this program and again run this program. Now there is no warning is there because the cleanup is done at the last time. Cleanup is done at the last time. Okay, you can see I have disabled that warning, set warning is also disabled, but you are not getting the warning there. When I again run this program, there is no warning is here because we have handled all the exception there. Keyboard interrupt also handled there. Okay, so done. Any doubt in this? Yes, any doubt in this? Just if you have any, because if I go very fastly, if you have any doubt, you can ask me anything that you are not understood, sir, how to open or if you are not knowing the commands of nano editor or anything, or if you are very new to Python, then also tell me. I will you because Python is your block structured language. You have to your block using this tab. Generally, in a C language, we are putting the block using the curly bracket, but in a Python, actually, we are doing this block using this tab. Okay, so it is and it is called an indentation language. Okay, so all code has been, you have understood all the code, this blink LED code. Yeah, anyone want to speak or anyone having the doubt, just let me know. Okay, no doubts. No, it is not the only editor, because generally I prefer the terminal editor. Okay, when I do the program, actually I always prefer the terminal. Nano is a terminal editor, but it is not the only editor. You can use your notepad, you can use the any editor for typing this program. Just for executing purpose, actually you go to the terminal and just type Python 3 space and the file name. The file name should be a your suppose blink.py. The second technique to do this is your terminal editor is the Python 3 idle. So in the idle also you can do the same program. Yeah, this is my idle and I'm opening that same program. So it is NHC. Okay, so this is my editor. Yeah, you can use Jupyter Notebook also. Yes, Jupyter Notebook also you can use. But here in a Raspberry Pi, that Anaconda Navigator is not being installed. It uses the Miniconda. You have to install the Miniconda, and that in that Miniconda actually that Jupyter Notebook came. Okay, for Raspberry Pi only. So this is my another editor, that is the idle editor, IDLE editor. To run this, just go to the Python run module, LED on, LED off, and you can see the output on your my video also, the LED also on and off. You can change your program here itself. If you don't like the terminal editor, then only you can do this. But I mostly like the terminal editor. So any other doubts? Are you getting how to log in into the Raspberry Pi remotely? Remotely, how to log in? What are the software that we require for remotely login? Can you quickly tell me in the chat window? What is the software that I'm currently using to remote login? Yes, VNC viewer. Yes, correct. SSH is for the terminal login. SSH is for terminal login. So you are not getting the GUI when you are connecting to the SSH. Anyone having the knowledge that suppose this is generally this Raspberry Pi is having the Raspbian operating system, and it is a Linux based operating system, and suppose you have the Windows operating system. Okay, you have Windows operating system, and if you want to log in to this Raspberry Pi through the Windows operating system, which software is used? Anyone knowing how to log in into the Linux from the Windows operating system? Which software is used to use that SSH? Yes, very correct. Saurav Ganguly, correct. Putty software. Okay, so you require the Putty software. In that Putty software, there is one SSH protocol also it supports. Using that SSH protocol, just type the username, password, and the IP address of your Raspberry Pi. Now from the Windows operating system also you can log in into the Linux based operating system. Very correct. Also for Windows also support the VNC viewer. Also your Android phone also support VNC viewer. VNC viewer app is there, and from that VNC viewer app you can connect to Raspberry Pi on your Android as well as your iPhone. From the iPhone also you can also connect, and you can control your Raspberry Pi from your phone also. Now it is very easy for controlling the Raspberry Pi. No need to have the monitor, no need to have the keyboard, mouse always connected with you. Just connect the power supply to your Raspberry Pi, and if it is Wi-Fi connected, then you can access that Raspberry Pi anywhere from the LAN. Okay, anywhere from the LAN. But you can, there are different ways in which from which actually you can also access this Raspberry Pi from the internet also. Okay, from the internet also you can also connect, but you have to install its service inside it. Okay, just like I think TeamViewer. Okay, TeamViewer, using the TeamViewer also you can get into this Raspberry Pi. The another is your, I think what is that name of the software? AnyDesk. Yes, AnyDesk. Using the AnyDesk also you can also connect or access this Raspberry Pi anywhere in the world, if it is internet connected. If you know the ID or AnyDesk ID, then you can also connect. The same GUI you can get by using AnyDesk. Okay, so these are some techniques through which actually you can access the Raspberry Pi. So we have started with the what is Raspberry Pi, from variants of the Raspberry Pi, and we go to the installation. After installation, we have seen the different techniques by which you can access your Raspberry Pi remotely, and then we have written one program, Blink LED program. Then we have executed that program. We have also tested the program on the hardware, how to connect the LED, how to connect, what is BCM mode, what is board mode, that we have also seen that. This is only from this session. In the next session, actually what we are doing, we will try to upload the sensor data from the Raspberry Pi to the same cloud that we have already created yesterday. Okay, so that is your ThingSpeak cloud. Okay, so we are trying to upload the data of the DHT sensor. We are first interfacing this DHT sensor to this Raspberry Pi, and then the temperature and humidity of this sensor we are uploading to the ThingSpeak. Okay, so I think this is only from this session. The next session is again quite interesting. I will be provide you the code. The code is not so much difficult. It is only 10 to 15 lines code, and that's it for this session. Any doubt? If you have any doubt, you can ask me, or otherwise we will end the session and we will meet exactly at 2 o'clock. So any doubts?